We're a quarter into the year. Where are you now?
This is MON, still showing up.
Hosted by Dennis.
Happy spring, my beautiful MON family. And this episode is for anyone who feels like quarter one flew by and now you're just sitting there like, wait, am I where I said I would be? And if your answer is no, you're not alone. Now, today's episode is going to be a little bit different. We're doing a spring reset. We're reflecting, we're getting honest. And someone sent me a message, and that someone is my cousin Randy. We're in quarter one now, right? He's like, where are you now? Are you still showing up for yourself? If not, what does it look like to you to re-enter yourself? And I'm not going to lie, that question really stayed with me. So now, as I'm reflecting, and I reflected on that question of where am I now with my goals? And if I'm being real with you, I'm proud of myself. But I also know that I can do more. And when it comes to my goals, like at the gym, I've been locked in and very consistent. Some weeks is 5 days a week. Some weeks it's 3 days this week and maybe one this week because I'm traveling. I'll probably do that tomorrow, but I'm still showing up. Discipline isn't about being 100% every single day because some days you're at 80%, some days you're at 20%, and some days you barely got 5% in you, but you still show up. And that's what MON's about. And that's what actually creates change. Most of my goals was me becoming the person that I want to become. And I will be completely honest, I'm pretty sure that I'm getting there. I'm balancing work, my podcast, showing up for you guys, right? In the beginning, I will say it was tough, but if I'm being honest right now, I know I can do more. And that's a good place to be. And I had to check myself because sometimes we think we're doing a lot, but really we're just doing what feels comfortable. And growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens in that space where you're capable of more. So for this next upcoming quarter, I am going to step up 100%. I want to start doing interviews. I want to start bringing on people who can share their stories, how they showed up, how they got to where they are. So there's someone you want to see on MON, please DM me, email me, send it to me. But here's what I want you to understand this Monday. Just because you're not where you want to be doesn't mean you're not closer than you were. And that's what matters. I really think that's why spring just really hits different because it's not about starting over. It's about checking in with yourself. And spring is literally asking you what needs to be released, what needs to be reset, what version of you are you still holding on to? Nobody really talks about how hard it is, right? To allow those good things into your life after you've been through things. Because when your life starts getting better, you question it, you overthink it, you almost don't trust it. But hear me when I say this. Your potential should not scare you, not because you can't reach it, but because deep down, you know what happens if you actually go all in. And I think what really made me reflect on that was Paris, because it was so crazy to me how I can travel 8 hours and land somewhere in life that just feels completely different. The people are present, they're sitting at cafes for hours, they're talking, they're not in that rush. Even just a bonjour, people acknowledge you. To me, when you ask me about my goals, am I happy where I am? I think before my trip, I was nervous, right? Because my whole perspective was checking things off. But now I'm at the point where I'm like, you know what? If I am doing the best that I can, and I'm genuinely happy with where I am in life, I don't need just to check things off. And traveling just brought me into a different realization of what I really thought my goals were. And honestly, I still have my goals and aspirations. And thank God for that, for giving me the strength and for just praying every single day. And you listening to this, we love the idea of growth when it looks like process, when things are going right, when everything feels aligned. But nobody really talks about the other part, right? Because growth, you need both. You need the good days, the sunshine, but you also need days that stretch you and the days that frustrate you, the days that make you question everything. And I had a few of those in this quarter one because those days are the days that actually really build you. And as we're talking about your goals and our spring reset, spring is also a reminder to check in with your life, not just one part of it, but just all of it, because not everything needs the same type of reset. Sometimes it could be your physical reset, which is, if we're being honest, your body. Your body is literally carrying you through your entire life. Or sometimes your physical could be your work, your goals, your experiences, checking in, right? And resetting those areas of your life. And sometimes it can be as simple as moving more, eating more, or finding a routine that you actually enjoy instead of forcing something that you hate. And then sometimes it could be your mental reset. And it's that mental declutter, which is real. And that mental declutter could look like your comparison. What are you comparing? What are you overthinking? Any negative thoughts that you're constantly repeating. That stuff is actually exhausting. And sometimes your reset is just clearing that out and choosing peace over the pressure that you see around yourself. And sometimes it's the spiritual side of things, right? You may be saying, what are you talking about? And I'm not going to lie, this part matters more than you think. And that's because when you feel aligned with God, you feel like you're moving with purpose and everything else feels lighter. And there was a verse that says, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything else will be added to you. And I think that was in Matthew 6:33. And that always reminds me, when you are aligned, you don't have to force everything. And sometimes, finally, it could be a financial reset. And let's be real, this one takes time. But I want you to remember this: money follows value. The more you grow, the more you learn, the more you build, the more opportunities open up. And I saw something that somebody posted that says, if you seek money, it's not going to flow because you're not aligned with your purpose. But once you seek your purpose and you align, that money comes flowing to you naturally. And everything that God wants you to receive, you will receive it, because you're not seeking those temptations or that quick money. That's not something that happens overnight. And once your life just starts aligning, you will see everything changing. Just like everything else, it takes time. Spring isn't about becoming somebody new. It's about deciding what you're not taking with you. Bloom where you are. Because as I was in Paris, right, I kept seeing flowers everywhere, like growing in the smallest little spaces. And obviously I'm admiring all of this, and it just made me think, wow, like, you don't need the perfect conditions to grow. You can bloom exactly where you are in life. I want you to really think about this line that I'm going to say, is that nothing exists outside of right now. Your past happened in a moment that already passed. Your future hasn't even happened yet. Everything you're worried about, everything that you're overthinking, it's all pulling you away from the only thing that's real, which is right now. And I think that has to do a lot with acceptance. And sometimes we try to fight where we are in life, but nothing really changes until you accept it first. some of us aren't stuck because we don't know what to do. We're stuck because we know and we're just not doing it. And that's the worst place that you can be, because nothing is worse than regretting something and saying, damn, like I didn't do that, or I will regret that. And that's the worst place to be. And for me, even being on that plane, right, as I was traveling back, looking at everything that God created, and I'll insert pictures, the clouds, the ocean, the sky, I just kept thinking to myself, if God can create all of that because it looks so beautiful, imagine what he can do with your life, the creator of this whole world. So when I think about my goals and where I am right now, I'm not where I want to be yet, but I'm not where I used to be either. And it's crazy because when I think about when I started MON and my process, I was so burnt out, but I will tell you something beautifully. It gets better with time. The more you do things, the more things will seem easier. The faster I've become when it comes editing, the more you learn, the faster things are. When it comes to my goals, and once you are aligned, God will give you the time that you need to get the things done that he wants you to do. And I think that is so beautiful. And as you're listening to this Monday, trees don't panic in the winter when their leaves fall. They don't think their life is over. They stay rooted. And when the seasons change, they grow again. And maybe some of us are in that same place. Maybe things felt slow. Maybe things look quiet for a while. But just because something looks still doesn't mean growth isn't happening underneath it. When you truly step back and you look at all of this, spring starts to feel more than just a season. It becomes a reminder that growth doesn't happen all at once. It happens in real life. And honestly, Paris showed me that in the most realist way possible. So now I really do want to get into my mom stories from Paris, because when I tell you this trip was an experience. First of all, the vibes were 10 out of 10. The aesthetics were so me, 10 out of 10. The lifestyle, we need to talk about that, right? Because the food, I'm not going to lie, it was okay. Like, I thought I was about to have a life-changing ratatouille moment, and it was just like, this is good, but I'm still thinking about arroz, habichuela y carne, like the rice and beans, like the whole time. Like, if the aesthetics with the Dominican food, chef's kiss, but no. But the drinks were amazing. And I don't know what they put in them, but they don't play over there. Right? Like, the double shots of espresso were like triple shots of espresso. And then I come back lighter. I said, okay, Paris detox, I see you. And one thing about Paris, that they be walking, okay? Like, not walk for fun, like walk like it's their job. And if you're in the way, they'll tap you in the shoulder. Like, the one guy didn't even say, excuse me. I was like, excuse moi. But I'm over here walking like, okay, this is cute. This is nice. Meanwhile, they're just all passing me like, ma'am, where are you going? Are you lost? Like, we can tell you aren't American, okay? But all jokes aside, people are nice. Like, you walk in, bonjour, like you leave, merci. And I'm like, wait, why is everybody so calm? Because they're all calm. And then the last day, this older man, probably in his 60s, 70s, starts talking to me. I was like, oh my God, you're the most beautiful Black woman I've ever seen. And I'm just there looking at him like, hold on. Why do I feel like I'm accidentally about to become like the Queen of France? Literally, it was the funniest thing ever. But you know what? I said, Idelise, relax. You came here for content, not the crown. But the crown would have been nice. But anyways, let's go into my first MON story, because I'm rambling, telling you a little bit about my trip. But let me be real about what really had me confused, which was the airport. I've never seen this in my life. So we're at the airport minding our business, and then this man comes up to us and was like, your carry-on, it's only 12 kilograms only. And I'm like, what do you mean? I've never seen somebody weigh my carry-on. They're like, yeah, weigh it. So I'm like, okay, so now what? Because when I weigh mine was like 15 kilograms. And I'm just over there thinking, like, do you want me to sit here and really open my suitcase in front of everybody and start taking out clothes? Like, what am I supposed to do? And long story short, I was like, what if I just check my bag? $140? I said, absolutely not. Okay. And then once we got it down to 12 kilograms, this man just disappears and just leaves. He's like, just to make sure that we're good. And then we go through TSA and we're just like standing there like, was this a test? Because clearly nobody ever weighed our bag and we never got checked again, right? We went through TSA, it was normal. So we're like, was he real or did he just wake up and decided to stress people out of fun? Like, I think that he was maybe just trolling all of us. But at least, we still showed up at the end of the day. And then day 3, this one right here really tested, my character a little bit. But I mean, things happened. We had reservations and it said 8-minute walk. We're like, cool, perfect. 8-minute walk, cute. I wore little kitten heels, comfortable, light, effortless, cute, whatever. Lies. Tell me how it was an 8-minute drive and somehow it turned into a 30-minute walk. And I was fighting for my life because I'm like, okay, 8 minutes, it's already been 8 minutes and it's already been 8 minutes and every step we took. I was like, this is growth. This is growth. And then me and Mercedes, we were way behind and we just looked at each other at the same time. And without even speaking, we just both knew, we're like, you know what? We stopped where we were and we ordered an Uber. We didn't panic. We looked at it wrong, but we didn't let that stress us out. And we still made it to dinner reservations. I think that whole trip really reminded me of, right, that life doesn't have to be perfect to be meaningful. Because the moments I remember the most were the moments that really wasn't perfect. And we always learn from that. It was the chaos, the wrong turns, and this was not planned. And isn't that just life in general? But you know what? We still showed up and we kept on going. To close this MON was a little bit of everywhere. One of the days we went to Disney and I saw this quote and it was obviously from Walt Disney. And it was like, I hope you never lose sight of the one thing that started with a mouse. And when I saw that, I was like, damn, like the universe is speaking to me. I was like, I don't know who needs to hear this. And that person was me at that moment, but now this is you. Don't lose sight of how small your beginnings was. Don't lose sight of that, of that version of you that just started. Don't lose sight of the progress that you once prayed for. As we're entering spring, as we're talking about our goals and finishing Q1, because everything you're dreaming about right now, it can seem small, or it started small. It started as an idea, your goals, a decision, or a moment where you chose to show up. And you might not be where you want to be yet, but that doesn't mean you're not becoming her or him. You don't need a whole new life. You need to recognize that you are the one already building. So if this season or this quarter felt slow or feels slow, or if it feels quiet, or if it feels like nothing is happening, trust me, something is growing. And even if you can't see it yet, and if God, as I mentioned, created the ocean, created the skies, the entire cities, right? He can create something absolutely beautiful with your life too. So dream big, take that step, reset your energy, realign with your habits, realign with your goals, show up even if it's not perfect, and don't rush your growth. It's Q1. We still have 3 more quarters because even spring takes time to bloom. And at the end of the year, you're going to look back and realize that this was the season. Everything started changing. You're not behind. You're just growing. And yeah, it's Monday, but you know what? Keep going. And as long as you're being consistent with your goals and keep going every single day, and consistency, as I said, looks different for everyone, you're already one step ahead and one step closer to your purpose, your goals, and what God wants you to do. So remember that this spring reset, you can still handle it. You can still do it. You still have the steering wheel to your life. You're doing amazing. I'm proud of you if nobody told you that. And I'll be here, same time, same place, still showing up. Bye now.